Okay, so we're talking about dividing in polar form. Okay. And so let's just review really quickly how to multiply when we're multiplying in polar form. So multiply in polar form. So when we multiply in polar form, someone said we multiply our radii. Multiply our radii. Radii is plural of radius, just in case you didn't know what I was talking about. And then what else? What did we? Yes, very good. Then we add our angles. Very good. Okay. So can you agree with me that when we're dividing, division is almost like the backwards of multiplication, right? Very standard in math is when they teach you something going forward and then they make you go backwards. So they taught you adding when you were in like kindergarten, first grade, and then they taught you subtraction. And subtraction, if you think about it, is the backwards of adding, right? Then they taught you multiplication and then they taught you division. Division is the backwards. So if you had to take a wild guess, just a wild guess, just to make sense of this, what would you do when you're dividing um, in polar form? You wouldn't multiply your radii. What would you do to your radii? Just guess. It's okay to be wrong. Yeah, you would divide them. So instead of multiply our radii, you're going to divide our radii. Okay. And instead of adding our angles, what do you think we would do? Yeah, exactly. Okay. So what I want you to do is try here. Okay. Now notice it's the problem that we're trying to figure out. Sorry, I need my mouse. The problem we're trying to figure out is to divide, and we're dividing this number by this number. Okay, we're dividing the first number by the second number. So division here, order matters. Over here, it didn't matter because right, 2 times 4 is the same as 4 times 2. It is not the same in division. 2 divided by 4 is not the same. So you have to go in this order. Okay. So go ahead and try this and let's see if we can get it right. And then I'm going to write out our answers over here. Very good. Okay. So number one, what would you do? Yeah, you would just go 2 divided by 3. And then you'd see if you can simplify it. In this case, you can't. So in this case, r is 2 over 3. Okay, number 2, our theta is going to be our first angle, which is 5 pi over 6, minus pi over 2, which, I'm going to subtract, right? So instead of writing pi over 2, I'm going to think about this as 3 pi over 6, right? Because that's the same. So 5 pi is over 6 minus 3 pi is over 6 would be 2 pi over 6. I feel like something is wrong. No, that's right. 2 pi over 6. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And then I'm going to simplify that. So that's just pi over 3. So there goes my answer. So now you know how to divide polar coordinates. Okay, so we got parentheses 2/3, comma, pi over 3. And that's what I got, right? And then, so essentially, if we were to divide this out, we can actually check our answer by dividing out this way. There it is right there. So we wanted to divide this. So you can check your answer by dividing out here and then getting it into Cartesian form and then switching it over to polar and trig form. Okay. So again, one more time. When you're dividing in polar form, you divide your radii and then you subtract. Why didn't I finish this? I just put subtract. Subtract what? Hold on a second. Let me get in there again. Subtract angles. Okay. And then as opposed to multiplication, you're multiplying your radii and adding your angles. Does that make sense? Any question? Which part of this is going to be the part that kind of messes with you? Which is that part? Where is my... There you go. The trig quotient is going to be the same. I'm sorry. The trig quotient is going to be you doing the radius and then parentheses, cosine, and then your angle, which is pi over 3. I always do this, and you guys have taught me how to do this better. So pi, and then highlight it. I feel like this font is tiny. You guys even see what I'm doing here? Let's make this bigger. There, that's slightly better. Pi over 3, comma, I sine, and then pi over 3. And that's trig form. So trig form doesn't change. Your trig form doesn't change at all. Are you guys all okay with this? Any questions on this? All right, very good.